Terrarian in the Dungeon, Chapter 72, Fan Fiction, by Azazyel. Please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel for listening and patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of his stories. A loud crashing noise rang out as titans clashed in the air as the Eye of Cthulhu, no longer the predator that sought to either smash or burn us to ashes with cursed lasers and flames, took its time tearing apart the Goliath by phasing through the giant monster's blows, either with its weird dimensional shifting nonsense that made it paler and almost see-through, or just by simply flying out of the grabbing hands of the larger Goliath that sought to crush the flying eye into a paste. Either way, I saw that the Eye of Cthulhu had to stop all attacks when it phased through a blow from Goliath, and as it phased out of reality, so did the army of other smaller flying eyes also phase out. Another thing I noticed was that all of the eyes, regardless of the size, couldn't phase back into reality when there was something inside of them. Likewise in the case of the smaller eyes, even when they phased into the head of the Goliath, they didn't unphased, which could have been a powerful tool. Then Bell and Philvis made their way back over to me as we watched the battle. Philvis asked the best question. Which one do we even attack? Between the frothing fury of the Goliath that was healing away the cursed flames and the chunks of flesh taken off by the smaller eyes, and the Eye of Cthulhu itself that was in its second phase and tearing chunks off of the Goliath with each dash, along with blowing cursed flames. Honestly, neither choice looked all that great, as it looked like the Goliath was going to win due to its insane regeneration and its sound waves attacks that could stagger the Eye of Cthulhu for it to hit it with its strong arms and fists. Want to see how much we can piss off the dungeon? I asked with a wry smile as I took out the Eater of Worlds and Queen Bee summon. And at the sight of the boss summoning, Belle shuddered as she visualized the insanity to come, and then with a wry smile she spoke. Jake, you're insane, but with the bosses focused on one another we can see what happens when we summon even stronger bosses in the dungeon, Belle spoke, and then I looked at Philvis. This is ridiculous, plain and simple. But seeing the dungeon's enhanced monsters get beat down is most pleasant. I vote to do it, she said with a bit of a vindictive smile as she obviously recalled her old parties getting killed off by monster parties and such. Welp, I got two affirmations to shake the metaphorical bee's nest, so I crushed the worm and shook the beehive summon item, and with a series of hissing and buzzing the Eater of Worlds tore its way through the dungeon ground, making it shudder, while the queen bee formed in the shadows of the trees before its wings blurred into motion, sending trees flying away at the force of the wind coming off the four wings that kept the elephant-sized bee in the air. The Goliath, seeing two more giant monsters meet it in the air, roared in an even louder primal fury, while we three made sure to sneak some attacks onto the large queen bee and the Eater of Worlds before we went back to hiding in the nearby forests out of sight of the massive, angry monsters. No wonder they say the Goliath is a level 4 monster at minimum, I muttered as I saw the Goliath literally grab the Eater of Worlds by its long body, ignoring the wounds coming from its hands as the segmented body parts attempted to eat or burn the hands away, as it used the massive and long Eater of Worlds like a chain to swipe through the air, and even succeeded at hitting the Eye of Cthulhu and the queen bee a couple times. But after a few more minutes of the kaijus battling, the queen bee seemingly got tired of getting swatted around and flew directly over the Goliath and recalling the bullshit that it could do. I grabbed Belle and Philvis and dived for the floor as the entire battle went silent for a split second. Then the entire dungeon shook as the queen bee activated its tiny hint of sun divinity. It became the embodiment of a pillar of plasma that fried the Goliath for a solid 5 seconds, and in that massive attack, the Eater of Worlds that had been rolled up in the Goliath's hands to act as a weapon got fried to the point of dying, so we got bags dropped on our bodies, and even the Eye of Cthulhu got blasted off to the side as its phasing trick couldn't handle the pure power coming off the queen bee, acting as the conduit to the sun. Even though the Eater of Worlds died, the Goliath was only partially regenerating, as the beam of light had burnt all the way through its chest, leaving its core somewhat visible, and seemingly understanding how the flesh was hurriedly regenerating over the large crystal. Several of the miniature eyes flew over and began taking bites out of the Goliath's crystal until it violently shattered and the rest of the Goliath's flesh burst into smoke, and the dungeon shook as though in fury at their monster being killed by what it clearly considered to be gods challenging it within its body. The dungeon's shaking even increased with our forms that were huddled together, with Belle's chest against my shoulder and my face accidentally pushed in Philvis's chest, being the only reason we hadn't fallen to the ground anyway, as the dungeon was clearly pissed beyond belief. Then the ceiling cracked, and as another monster's head popped out, I felt a piece of me die inside as I saw the fucking juggernaut shriek the dungeon's fury as it tore its way out of the walls of the dungeon, and it showed its insane speed as it literally broke the sound barrier as it tore through the air in its leap, in which it used its claws to bisect the queen bee with no fanfare before it landed on the complete another side of Rivera in a crash that threw trees and boulders at insane speeds. Then as I saw the Eye of Cthulhu try hopelessly to dodge the Juggernaut's slashing limbs and tails, I saw the Juggernaut's immunity to magic at work as its magical barrier absorbed all the cursed flames before returning all the absorbed flames in a massive conflagration that stunned the Eye of Cthulhu long enough for the Juggernaut to leap into the air, capture the Eye of Cthulhu within its teeth and with a wet crunching sound eat it. Wordlessly, I grabbed the girls in a backbreaking hug and teleported home with our bags and my inventory as the enhanced juggernaut was beyond us. We would no doubt die if we were seen, as I couldn't even react to dodge that monster that could break the sound barrier with its leaping, to say nothing of its magic immunity.